Hi, everybody. Okay, we are coming on and 87 days, I think. 87 days. Since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because he was a whistleblower, they took his life. They took his life because he was whistleblowing the criminal trafficking, including the child trafficking on along the El Paso borderland. And we have July 25th, 2025. And a few days ago, I got word that, well, that they put out, after 6 years, the interrogation of Patrick Crusius. And y'all, it's so damning to the police department. It's so damning to Senator Ted Cruz. It's so damning to the FBI. It's an embarrassment. It's so embarrassing. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. It is. I would be totally embarrassed, and I think it was staged, or a double take, because we have, on good authority, that somebody else interrogated Patrick Crucius. And now all of a sudden we have these two officers um, really holding his hand, I mean, just think about it. The environment is the day, the day of the biggest mass shooting, I think, in American history, right? Is it? Is it the biggest? I mean, Nevada, maybe, Nevada, Las Vegas was bigger. I don't know. I don't know. This is a huge mass shooting. You're talking about 23 dead, dozens injured, right? Right there in a Walmart, right there on the border. I mean, where is this is like, I'm trying to describe what this interrogation is like. It's like a patty cake. It's like, some kind of, like, you're waiting for them to hug him. You're waiting for the police to hug him, right? I mean, they are. It's gross. It's just, look. He is admitting to killing all these people, and this is like just hours later, right? Just hours later. And these police officers, this is their community. This is their friends' friends. This is their authorities because, of course, Jaime Esparza, the DA at the time, his sister was at the Walmart. Um, this is really, it should shake everyone, right? And they did this big media to do afterward. But look at the whole atmosphere in this room. It's like they want to play patty cake with him. It's like they want to, okay, let's spend the night with each other. You know, let me give you a hug so you can feel better. Oh, I don't want to hurt you. Oh, you want a drink, honey? You want a drink, honey? You have anything else to say? And he's just whining, and they're just whining with it is. uh, I'm trying not to get emotional, but let me tell you, if I was one of the victims' families and I was watching this, yeah, I would say that the El Paso Police Department would need to lawyer up. This is so embarrassing and so negligent, and just, with every line. why am I coming on so late? Because with every line of this interrogation, and even with the video, there is an irregularity. There is a breach of normal protocol. There is a a breach of being. Did these police officers even go to peace officers training school? Did they even go to interrogation school? Uh, it's I don't know. It is just with every line we could find several irregularities with every picture they showed at the beginning is so many irregularities um, that cannot be coincidence. And of course, this corroborates what authorities have told us, that this was staged, that this was staged, and that this is a cartel hit. Of course, it's bloody. I'm not saying people didn't die. Of course, people died. But the narrative doesn't fit. That's what I'm saying. The narrative doesn't fit. The way the law enforcement have handled this, um, it is the way the way the judges have handled this, the way the prosecutor. Think about this. He's coming in, he's like, "I did it. I did it. I did it." And they don't want to prosecute for the death penalty, 23 people dead and dozens injured, and they don't want to prosecute for the death penalty. They want to treat him with soft gloves. They want to treat him like he's a baby and plea deal with him, and then give him automatically appointed counsel for millions and millions of dollars, where other victims have to sell their homes and everything to pay for a lawyer. But no, he gets it all for taxpayers, to this open checkbook for Joe Spencer, just so corrupt. And Judge Sam Madrano, the most corrupted judge in El Paso history. To watch this is, um, wow. It corroborates that what they did to Richard was also were right on target, that it was absolutely a deep state plan, a cartel plan, um, a corrupted military, compromised military plan. That everything that the evidence has led us to, that we have been very patient to, we haven't jumped the gun. We have collected and collected and collected. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on so late with your prayers and love. Anicia, please watch this interrogation. You're just going to be absolutely shocked, or not shocked even, or maybe you will be. I don't know how to describe this interrogation. It is, and you'll be yelling at the TV the whole time. You'll be yelling at the TV the whole time. You'll be like, "What?" At these, it's so obvious that this, my opinion from what I know, I think this was another staged interrogation, a sanitized one, or um, and he admits right away. This is just hours later. He admits to being autistic, and they don't do a mental health evaluation for competency. They don't do a mental health evaluation. And remember that Bob Moore called me names, got upset, came on. That was the one time that he came on to my live streams, is when I kept saying that Patrick Crusius was autistic. That, just watching him in the court, and me being a teacher and being trained to spot disabilities, right? Disabilities or mental health conditions. Um, and I said, look, to me, he seems to be autistic. He is definitely not right, right? He's definitely not right. And Bob Moore comes on. Of course, he's the one that targeted Richard in starting in December of 2019 um, to retaliate against him with Manny Chavira, a known cartel operative that they made illegally into the chief of police for the El Paso ISD without a peace officer's license. Maybe that's not what they want. All they want, they don't want trained officers. They want cartel officers. That's what they seem to want because these two officers that interrogated, um, I to me, if I was had any say so in it, I think they'd lose their badges. They'd lose their badges. It is just that egregious. And I, um, it's so embarrassing for our country, and it shows that the cartel are right there, um, infiltrated in our system, in our law enforcement system, in our judicial system, in our political system. Yeah, all through it in our funeral system, in our medical examiner's office, um, and they are just sucking fraudulent gotten money um, left and right, and it's a huge problem. And you see, one of the biggest ones was the Fed. President Trump went to the Fed today. $3 billion for a building upgrade. $3 billion. That's not 100 million. That's not 500 million. That's not even double 500 million, right? That's not even double 500 million. That's not even double a billion. You're talking $3 billion. What in the world are they building there? That has to be a money laundering scheme. It's just what in the heck? What are they money laundering? That's my suspicion for the Fed. Yeah, that controls us, right? Absolutely controls us because they control the interest rate, so they can absolutely control the country. And so that's on a bigger scale. And here we have Patrick Crusius in El Paso and these cartel operatives controlling El Paso. That's what they're doing. And so much so that they can order an operation of a mass shooting, right? Um, execution. And, they keep saying, they lead him they lead him into always trying to get this racist baiting thing, that it's never once never once saying that the man shot at the door is a German national, Alexander Gerhard Hofmann wrote, and that there were, it was a mix. Okay, maybe predominantly Mexican, but you're talking about El Paso, right? You're talking about El Paso. But the hits, the targets, the executions, um, it was for a different reason. Um, it was not a racist hate crime. He absolutely, in this whole interrogation, just debunks the whole white supremacist thing. He just debunks the not knowing El Paso. Um, the reasons, the reason why he gave is because he didn't want to traumatize his parents, right? The reason why he gave this, it had nothing to do with Mexicans or wanting to seek out a city that had a lot of Mexicans, Um, so every line I can go through, and tomorrow, I think I'll do that. I'll go through every line of uh, this interrogation, if that's what you want to call it. Is it a pillow fight? Is it bubbles? Is it bubble hour at the El Paso Police Department where, they just blow some bubbles and you can play around with the kids? I don't know what you would call this, but it's not an interrogation, okay? And so the videos, going through the videos at the beginning were very, very interesting. We have many people reviewing, professional people reviewing that, and we've gotten a lot back. So of course tomorrow I'll give you more information. But one of the very first things that we noticed was at the very beginning, um, uh, when they are kind of giving these little video shots of Patrick Crusius and the Walmart, whatever. Um, he comes into the Walmart, and right there is supposed to be laying Alexander Hoffman. But Alexander Hoffman's already down, right? Um, it kind of cuts through or whatever, but he's down and his feet move. His feet move. Let me tell you, because my husband is a PA, if you get shot in the head, right? Your feet don't move. Your feet don't move. When you're down, your feet don't move. Okay? And within 20 minutes, depending on the weather, maybe 30 minutes, the temperature and things, you have atrophy already, right? You don't move. Something is really wrong here. Very, very wrong. And if you've ever seen a person faint, it's very interesting where they just kind of buckle. They just all buckle down. Um, Pat, and then to walk off, no splatter on him at all. And of course, the police don't bag his hands, don't do simple forensics, right? Oh, is that blood on your hand at one point? It's like, what? What? It, the whole thing. You want a drink? Oh, you want to wash up a little bit, honey? You need to go pee pee? Oh, I don't want to hurt you. He actually says that. I don't want to hurt you. I'm going to take off your cuffs. Like, this is like this mad shooter to two Hispanic officers, and their narrative is that he hates Hispanics, yet, oh, let me take off your handcuffs. Let me, I mean, this is the most ridiculous interrogation, and I can't be more I can't I should be more animated than what I am about it, because that's how bad it is. I'm just too nice. I'm just too nice, especially after what they've done to our son. Um, that's on purpose because I don't want them to make me. Um, I don't want them to make me be this bitter, evil person. I really don't want to be that. I want justice. And so I rather err on being a little patient because there's no statute of limitations with murder, and make sure that I have the joy of my salvation, than to fall into their bitter, evil, conniving, um, conspiratorial, uh, murderous hands. You know, Trafficking. Uh, you know, they're just the worst of the worst. And to take Patrick Crusius, um, and to really turn him into a patsy, absolutely. God has it right. He's a patsy. And you know, autistic, and to keep that from the people, to keep his connection to the Mayellas, to keep that connection from the people, to do this open checkbook. It was so conspired, it was so planned, um, by Sam Madrano, by Judge Guadarrama, by Joe Spencer, by the Mayellas, by and I by Bill Hicks, by Montoya, by these cartel operatives, and of course the false witnesses, Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, Leilani Hart. They're of course the false witnesses. Um, and it's more. It's more. And so I can tell you what I think happened. What I think happened is that there were investigations going on that really hurt the bottom line of big operatives, like Walmart, like people that are in the building business, the electric business, the water mafia people, those involved in the criminal trafficking, um, of course, all of the politics and um, the the government contracts or city contracts, county contracts, those that play these really fraudulent. They're just up to no good, right? Because they'll just take advantage of everything for their own personal gain. They have no loyalty to El Paso, to the country, which means they have no loyalty to Mexico, because if the United States does well, then Mexico does well. Um, so they're just evil criminals, and they wear suits and they are in positions, or they wear uniforms, and they're up to no good. And they were getting audited, they were getting investigated, they were getting audited. We know that very Walmart was being investigated. We know that Walmart is absolutely not innocent in this. They did not have security. They hired Michael Mayella for their cybersecurity, which is the cameras and that. Where is their guards? I mean, they're just absolutely part of this problem. And the I think some cartel members got scared. They got scared, and like El Mayo, like El Chapo's son, who are talking right now, they're in New York. They've been extradited. They were arrested in El Paso and extradited up to New York, and they're talking. They're absolutely talking, and they even put out signs in Juarez to notify the public that they're talking, that they are notifying their faction of the Sinaloa cartel that they're against, that have um, really turned their back on El Mayo. Uh, and I'm not defending El Mayo. I'm just saying these factions are turning their back, and that faction is part of the political party, the Pan Party, that's part of this rotting body dumping ground for the narco cartel. That is part of Governor Maru Campos's faction. She's Sinaloa faction, which is Cesar Haragi, Sinaloa faction, and El Mayo just came out with the signs to name them for their criminality. Um, he's not going to go down alone. I guess that's he doesn't want to go down alone. And this faction, this Pan Party faction, that were funeral fraud, um, sacrilege to Corpus Christi. They're really the evil, very evil, right? And so, So I don't know how Scheinbaum is going to do this, because now President Trump wants biometrics, because he's identifying everybody. He's identifying who's who, right? He wants to know who's who. And they're all connected to El Paso through visas. A lot of them are living over in El Paso because it's safer to live over in El Paso, I guess. Um, Look what they've done to Juarez. So I think they were being audited. I think all the scams and everything were being investigated, and some people wanted to talk. Some people in that is in connection with the deep state and the Sinaloa cartel group that wanted to make a deal, make a plea deal or whatever, or just move back to Germany. I think that Alexander Gerhardt was absolutely a target. And maybe he was getting nervous. He didn't want to go to prison. He didn't want to be investigated. And I had heard that he was trying to move back to Germany. I guess he had his enough of his fraudulent activities with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia over the years. Um, and yeah, I think that they silenced him with, among others, 23 others, right? And that the witnesses and like Ernest Christopher Grant has been now arrested. So back then there was a lot behind the scenes that people didn't get to see. And one of them was Ernest Christopher Grant, the media sweetheart for the false narrative that was meant to um, attack President Trump to affect the election, right? It was all about tampering with elections and with President Trump's election. And of course, they absolutely tampered with Yvonne Rosales, and you know. And of course, we know now because of the name change and the lack of transparency, which is criminal when you're doing an election, that James Montoya interfered with an election, that he tampered with an election. So it is very, everything that we've been saying, we've been right all along. And this has just the right. Uh, this was an operation against the opponents that want to stop the cartel deep state operatives and network from cashing in on a criminal trafficking government contract schemes. That's and USAID funding, the funeral homes scams. They had built their lives on scams, illegal activity, and they wanted to keep it. And they were being audited. Their livelihood was being, their illegal criminal livelihood was being threatened. And so they conjured up this kind of hit. Um, it's terrible, but that's absolutely what all the evidence is pointing to. So it's a crazy long day watching that video over and over and over again. I hope that you watch it too. Please give me some notes, what you think, what you find in there. But it's crazy to think that that might be staged, because Helfman's feet, I don't think it's Helfman. It can't be Helfman because he wasn't alive. He wasn't alive enough to move his feet. Okay? He wasn't alive. He didn't have the power to move his feet. So something is really crazy about this video, and it's being analyzed. It's being thoroughly analyzed. So by the top people. So thank you so much. And I think this is really an indictment on Senator Cruz. I have to say that, and because he went there. He went there when the crime scene was not secured. We know it wasn't secured for over 48 hours. He went there and he talked to the FBI. He talked to law enforcement. He absolutely walked the scene. Um, and he know he and he just chimed in with the narrative. And I think that when you are that close to all this information, um, you shouldn't act so hasty in putting out the narrative that they were putting out. You have a lot more forensics information to look through before you make those kinds of claims. Um, yeah, so, and he knows that. He's not stupid. Um, that's one thing you can't say about Senator Cruz. And so, he, yeah, he absolutely knew. So this is really an indictment on him. And of course, Veronica Escobar. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go because um, I'm going to go watch some more of this. There's no time to sleep, y'all. There's no time to sleep. It's, uh, we have something really, really big here to do. Justice for Richard is really, really big because that means it's justice for El Paso. It's justice for El Paso, the front door of the United States, which is huge for the well being and the security of our country. So, thank you so much. God